Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. And I want to thank you so very much for taking time out to listen to this particular presentation. I'm spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, and that basically refers to those rights that are common amongst each of you and are as essential for your living as the air you breathe and the body that you live in. But the message today is around this fact. They want to destroy the world. Hate wants to destroy everyone. Now, the message that I have for you today, I'd like to present it in the form of a story. This is the story of a young boy growing up in poverty. And like the blind, the deaf, and the dead that experienced a miracle, so did this young boy. He grew up like others, went to high school, and attended Alcorn State University, where he degreed in social science. Now, having graduated, he moved to Chicago to be with his wife, who graduated 2 years earlier. He worked several jobs before settling with the Veterans Administration. Living in Chicago exposed him to dire poverty. Even though his life was a little above it at that time, the suffering of others brought suffering to him. After several years with the Veterans Administration, he chose to quit and dedicate his time to end poverty in America. Now, not aware how to achieve this, he just threw himself in the middle, choosing poverty as his life, believing that the answer would reveal itself. First lesson he learned, that married until death do us part, had its conditions, a price that he refused to pay, and that obviously ended in divorce. Now, in further pursuit of this knowledge, he joined the Navy. But he found there that many of the policies and political decisions of the President of the United States, who served as Commander-in-Chief of the military, these had very negative effects on minorities and the poor. So his protest to this activity was to disobey orders. He was ultimately court-martialed. But this situation evidenced that the watcher of the people still had eyes on them and would use him to further such a cause. After release from the military brig, he was sent to Japan to be studied and documented. This authorized by the Naval Intelligence. One of their ploys was to have him intercepted one night while leaving an enlisted man's club by a Japanese couple. Now, they were looking for a black man to have sex with his woman, his wife. And this young man thought about it for a minute. Thought about they could possibly take him out and kill him. But ultimately, he decided to go, and did. And he also did the do. But he saw this as an occasion for the Navy intelligence to collect some data about his morals, and thought it could be used to serve his own purpose. He stood his ground on matters of his purpose. For the cause of the victims, it was worth receiving an other than honorable separation for the United States Navy. This young man was remarried several years later after separation from the Navy. Still pursuing this knowledge necessary to stir the public, he went after public office. He was going to use this as a platform to awake the public. In 1988, he sought the office of U.S. President as an independent. 1990, ran for mayor of the city of St. Paul, Minnesota. Again in the 90s, he ran for the governor of the state of Minnesota. Again in the 90s, he ran for U.S. Senator from the state of Minnesota. And in the years of 2000, he sought the office of mayor of Woodbury, Minnesota. Now, in each case, This young man couldn't raise enough money for a phone call. When those efforts failed, he chose certain criminal codes to violate again in an attempt to use the witness stand to reach the public. No one was reached or awakened, and he went to jail or prison, whichever was appropriate. And his last prison release was September the 11th, 2001, as the World Trade Centers were tumbling. He saw this as what the people bought by ignoring what he offered. One might be able to imagine what goes through this mind in the face of what's happening today. What's happening today for those that laughed at Donald Trump last year, including Obama? Who gets the laugh now? Trump saw that if the American people were dumb enough to continue to keep sending these no-serving politicians to and back to office, they just might be dumb enough to send him. So Donald becomes Madoff, and the public becomes the investors, and this campaign becomes the Ponzi scheme. Now the whole scheme reeks of a bigger scheme. A scheme where the division of the people has now evolved to the time for the people, for the nation to be conquered. The hate in the nation is thick as waffle thick, fueled by the powers set out to accomplish just that. And now that the public that has surrendered their ability to think is susceptible to a different con artist without even asking questions, giving it to him without any knowledge of what to expect. Nevertheless, this scheme can bring in the New World Order. Trump is just the kind of guy they need, only concerned about himself. Slam the door on women, on people of color, curse the public, threat to shoot them in the street, and his supporters love him. Just the kind of guy the New World Order has been waiting for. But this is no accident. One of the most beloved U.S. presidents, John F. Kennedy, was publicly executed for standing against the established order. Now Trump knows he has been given the green light. If the people accepts it, he's in. If not, well, another Republican or Democrat will do, while the people are just beaten down a little longer. So what should I tell you? If you know God, you're not a part of the scheme. If you believe in God, you are confused and are all over the place. You are in Republican ranks, in Democrats ranks, in Green Party ranks, in Libertarian Party ranks, in T ranks. You're everywhere. If you're an atheist, you're really screwed. Everyone else, just Lord have mercy. But God would have me tell you this, and when I say God would have me tell you this, I am specifically saying that the spirit that is within me compels me that we must give up everything for God. And God will give us everything, but multiply, as did Noah, as Moses and Job, as Jesus and Paul, as Gandhi and King and X, to name a few. Faithfulness, everyone requires it, when they themselves know they cannot and will not commit. But we all can lie, even to ourselves. Now this might seem impossible, however, no matter what, we cannot lie to God. See, God has a way to prove truth to ourselves. When God made good, God made also evil. When God made man, he was given choice, good or evil. Good has a makeup, evil has a makeup. And each makeup is totally different. Good is about respect and honor for all that is created. And when we're speaking about humans, that means for one another. We recognize all of the differences that each of us have, and that it is a contribution to the outward experience of life itself. And we are very happy with whatever it is that we got, and everybody else just loves us for what we are. Because it is the combination that makes the picture so doggone beautiful. And so what we do, we make sure that every last one of us have that which we need to stay beautiful. Because in your beauty makes us more beautiful. And we know that this is only maintained because we do that which is necessary to keep all of us beautiful. We keep out the junk, and we keep love in the middle of. We honor the power that put us here, made us, and make it possible for us to be just like this. We love that. Now, there's another side that loves to destroy, because it survives on destroying. It survives on lying and tearing down and being ugly and sinful, as we call it. But that's just doing the job that it was done. It was made to do that. And what is it for? It is for the representation of the complete inability to lie to ourselves any longer. Because to be of one means to be absent of the other. Now, here's the big challenge. Here is the greatest challenge of it all. Good is always good. Oil can't mix with water. Good can't mix with ugly. And being good entitles you to experience heavenly things always. And in moments like this, where we are in the midst of darkness and